On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. This video is going to be a little bit different than anything else I've ever done and possibly anything I've ever seen before. I think I'm going to try to embed in a way that we can make this work, a way to get a link to you guys that is amazing. If you want to see kind of how the Brennan, Clapper, the whole Comey, Three Stooges event went and how it played out, came across an amazing video. Can't really give the link any sort of easy way. Certainly can't reference the page on the screen. But if you guys follow a couple simple instructions that I'm going to give you at the end and how we do this, I think this will work out pretty awesome. Plus, I got a couple really good little stories to kind of show how things are evolving right now. Certainly not, I feel like we're kind of in a slight stagnate area. And I think, again, it's one of those things where both sides are kind of waiting for a shoe to drop or for someone to do something. And I don't know if this is one of those chicken moments or what. Obviously, the Pelosi and all the Democrats wanted to try to get over $3 trillion. A lot of that supposedly to go and help fund states. There's been a lot of talk around that, the post office, and any number of other things. President Trump's been very specific about trying to help those who actually need help, certainly not giving taxpayer dollars to states that have been poorly managed. And again, if you start to look at all these cities where the violence is really occurring, literally all the cities where the violence is out of control, where the violence continues still, Portland, there's question as to how long it's even going on anymore. Nobody knows for sure. Is it 77 days, 78 days, 76 days? Like, no one really knows for sure how many days we're into it. But I'll tell you one thing we are sure of. They're Democrats, hardcore through and through. And the AG there saying that they're not going to prosecute anything. So now the police have pulled out and all sorts of crazy stuff's happening. So things are getting a little bit freaky. Let's get to some of the crazy that's going on right now. One, and this really kind of irks me a little, and it might you too, but I want you to think for a second. I think there's a reason for this. So what is this? Hillary Clinton apparently is not going to have to testify on her private email server questions that were happening. Now, this was the, what are these guys called down there? Judicial Watch. Now, again, that's kind of like a private organization that's trying to go after one of the untouchables. So I'm not surprised they basically said no. In fact, for any of you that have been following this kind of conspiracy game for any length of time, it shouldn't surprise any of you. Now, we came close. A lot of attention's been brought to it. And in all honesty, the way things play out with her, I think are going to be a little more behind the scenes. I am extremely doubtful this individual is ever going to come out in public or ever be kind of put out in public in trouble. No, we're going to get all the small level people. We're going to get all that junk before we ever see anything about her. But, you know, she might just magically stop showing up in public. That's always possible. Now, one thing that's really interesting, you hear a lot of people on the left frequently talk about how the media is very balanced, and all you people on the right are ridiculous to think that there's some sort of bias. That's not true. That's just Republican talking points. Well, okay, there's one thing to say. But the Washington Post fact checker, that's in quotes, is attacking Republicans and is soft on Democrats. Now, we actually have some legitimate data. So over the summer, it's been a very tilted time. In June, there were 40 Pinocchios thrown at Republicans and just 10 for Democrats. In July, it was even worse. 39 Pinocchios for Republicans and 0 Pinocchios for Democrats. From June 16th through July 31st, there has been 62 Pinocchios to Republicans and 0 for Democrats. Now, I can hear the left already saying, well, yeah, because the Republicans lie. Hello, Democrats don't. Now, of course, one of the funniest things about Democrats is they project, 1. 2, they can't seem to be able to look in the mirror. I don't understand it. But 3, anybody with any sort of rational mind whatsoever should be able to say 62 to 0, like 62 times the Republicans have made something up. It's not true. And the Democrats have never done it? Really? Because that right there should just be out of control crazy. So nobody should buy that kind of nonsense. So is it slanted? Yes, heavily. Here's some facts. Fact checkers for Washington Post. It's craziness. Now, news starts talking about Democrat-run states need to bail themselves out, not demand that someone else foot the bill. And this is kind of what's funny. What's going on right now is these people are holding out. New York and California and probably a couple others, but specifically these two states, I live in one of them, are in bad financial state. Bad financial state. In fact, California is talking about trying to tax people's wealth And that's like if you own stocks and somehow that stock's done really well, they want to tax you based off of what that stock's worth at the time they decide to tax you, which is ridiculous because the stock's worth nothing until I sell it. And for me to pay for wealth that I don't even have yet, then do I sell the stock? How does that? Because then you sell it and it probably gets you on capital gains or something else, right? Again, and they want to be able to go back 10 years and go after you retroactively. So let's just say, for example, great example of somebody is Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was in California, is currently, but will be leaving soon. Got a great deal with Spotify and is basically pulling all of his stuff off of YouTube and heading on out. And he's also moving to Texas, where he feels it's more centralized as far as the country is concerned. And secondly, he specifically said that it's a place where there's a lot more freedoms. Now, what's funny is California's law is actually going to go after people like Joe Rogan. Wealthy people that have left the state, and they're still going to go after them and say, you owe us for this wealth tax, even though you left. This is what Nancy Pelosi's doing and people like that. There are a lot of people that are fleeing this state and fleeing some of these crazy cities for a lot of reasons, but financially, we are the highest tax state, and they're now talking about raising that even further. And I know New York's in the same place. California's in bad shape, bad states. I heard prior to this pandemic thing happening, we were well over $1 trillion in debt. $1 trillion in debt for a state. So one thing they've come to find out is this whole Trump spy, Obamagate, all that good stuff. Make sure I use all the words that are going to get me in trouble. This whole thing apparently started late 2015 even. A lot of information is still continuing to come out. And this is very much showing that there was wrongdoing and collusion going on way back. In fact, they're calling this a bombshell, but from December 2015, the word lures is redacted by FBI, but not OIG, OCONUS, which they say is outside contiguous U.S. lures, whatever. All these little verbiage things were used in text messages that imply that this was already sort of in motion earlier than what we even realized, which of course makes me wonder, was Trump already sort of talking about being president before he officially announced it? Well, it's very possible. Very possible. So again, this is such a deep rabbit hole. And again, I've got a bitchin' video that talks a lot about this that I'm going to share with you guys. Again, we're going to use that little secret. Stay tuned. Stay with me. We're almost there. AG Bars also talked about this announcement we had Friday. I don't know, today's Saturday, 8/15. Friday the 14th. Barr released that the guy that changed the email, the CIA individual, I forget the guy's name, Eric, whatever, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Eric, this guy has changed the email and is the one that basically said, was Carter Page working for the CIA, yes or no? And the CIA sent the email back, said, yes, he was working for us. This individual that just got in trouble said, no, he was not working for the CIA. And because of that, they were trying to pin all that Russia stuff on him and used that to create 2 FISA court cases to continue this spying. So right off the bat, one guy's already been busted. We've kind of been waiting for that first shoe to fall, and of course it was the lawyer guy that changed the email. More's coming, for sure, and it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. One thing that's kind of cool, just on a sort of positive news front, Sweden was right, and we were wrong. That's what a lot of people are talking about, suspicious of, I don't know, actions prove louder than words. We're over here arguing everything under the sun. Sweden's like, yeah, no, we're not shutting stuff down. We're not doing any of that. And as it's played out, they're actually flattening way out right now. Their August numbers are looking spectacular. And you know why? Because they didn't hide from it, I guess. And they managed to sort of, people got sick, people got over it, and they moved on, and ERs didn't fill up and all that. So Sweden was kind of a really cool example of how you can do it, and it seemed to play out awesome for them. Now, the final story before we get into the cool little thing that I think we're going to be able to pull off. 52% of Democrats wish someone else were their nominee. Only 25% of Republicans feel that way. Think about that for a second. 52% of Democrats right now are like, seriously, Kamala Harris and Biden are what I got? Now, of course, everybody knows we've got Hillary over here magically waiting in the wings, just waiting for her opportunity to jump in and make something happen. But we'll see how that plays out. Biden's still hanging in, even though he's hiding out in his bunker, even though he's not really talking about it, even though he's not really campaigning. Kind of odd, right? Not campaigning really at all. Trump's managing to get on the air every day, and I think he's trying to get out in Ohio. He's trying to get out and do stuff. Can't call it campaigning as much, but he's out and about, and he's hitting some of these important states and certainly making impacts and making a difference. And, you know, maybe he's taking advantage of his presidency to do that, whatever. Biden's still locked in his bunker, not really doing a whole lot. And I kind of feel like he's sort of leaning on Kamala to sort of talk for him because she's still capable of doing it. Biden's not, apparently. You just watch anything he does, and you'll find it's very disappointing. So Americans' views of Donald Trump and Joe Biden, which best describes your view of Donald Trump and Joe Biden? Both would be good presidents. Neither would be good presidents. Only Donald Trump would be a good president, or only Joe Biden would be a good president. So of U.S. adults, obviously 36% felt only Biden, 33% only Trump. Again, these are polls. We don't really care what polls say, but it is interesting for some reason. For some reason, we always say we don't care about polls unless they say something positive about our side, or we don't care about polls, except sometimes we like to talk about them anyway. I know, it's stupid, right? But again, both people, 5%, neither, 25%, which is, I think, is a fair place. Honestly, this column and this column are going to win the day. These two columns right here. This column's going to dwindle. Biden's going down, no question about it. Both may increase, sure, but neither and only Trump, I think, are going to be the places that really start to coalesce. Because people are going to start to realize, well, Trump's helped the economy. Trump's actually done a pretty good job with the virus. Things are moving along in the right direction. He's trying to get kids back in school. Like, Trump's trying to make a difference. We got Biden saying everybody should wear masks all the time, 100%. We should make that a national law. Okay, thanks, Biden. Thanks for playing the game. Thanks for playing along with us. All right, folks, so here's the thing. I've got a link that's showing on the page right now. Hopefully it's below or somewhere around here. I don't know. There you go. It's over there. It's backwards on my screen. This link's important. I want you to type this. You need to type it. I don't think that one's caps sensitive, if you will. But the part that I'm going to ask you to copy-paste is. So make sure you get this into a browser window, what I'm sharing. And then within my description, you will see paste here, and then right under there is a little section, uppercase, lowercase, or camel case, they call it, little bit of words. I want you to copy, or letters, I should say. I want you to copy those letters, and I want you to paste that right at the end in the browser window of what I'm showing on the screen. So you've got what's showing on the screen, and then that slash is at the end, right? And then paste that remainder right after that. Hit enter. You can copy that whole thing and paste it into a web URL checker if you're worried about me trying to give you a bad site. I'm not trying to do that at all, but certainly feel free to check it. But what I am trying to do is make this really hard for the A_I to figure out what I'm talking about. And I think I have. I want you guys to check out this video. You want to try to understand how the intelligence agencies really got taken advantage of. There's a couple whistleblowers that come out and talk about the work they did, and it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I hope you guys check that out, please. And of course, because of all this hard work, I would love it if you guys could take a moment and like up this video. Certainly subscribe to my channel. And if you can share this with anybody that might be open, especially for the way that we can share this link, don't type it in the comments. That's not what we want. We're not trying to make this easy for a reason. It's a way to keep it from being obvious. The second it gets typed in the comments is the second that AI can very easily figure it out. So let's try to see if we can make this happen. I don't know. This was kind of an experiment on my part. We'll see what happens. I hope this makes a difference, though. Where we go one, folks. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.